Coach, 10 seconds to go. Final question. This can be pencil, not pen for the answer. As of right now, who do you think your old team, the Washington Commanders, will select at quarterback with the second overall pick in the draft in 10 seconds?
No, I think they go with Jalen Daniels. Again, this is about who's going to fit that style of offense that Cliff Kingsbury's bringing to town. That's why they went out and signed Marcus Mariota, and I think that's what you're going to get. I really do. I think that's the kind of offense player they're looking for, and I think he's dynamic enough.
He answered the question like he knew like what the answer was. And look, it's possible that no one in the building that like Ron Rivera. There are sometimes a coach gets fired from a team, and you get the sense that like the team is not. No one liked that person, and it was like acrimonious. That is never what this was with Ron Rivera in Washington. Like, I think he has the respect of the owner and a lot of people in that building. I'm not saying, again, that anyone has told Ron Rivera that. I don't think that's what he was saying either. He said that with a lot of confidence that he thinks Jaden Daniels is going to be the second overall pick to Washington. Now, we talked with Eric Eager, and Eric was saying that he still thinks Washington wants to trade up to 1, right, to take Caleb Williams and, like, really match Cliff Kingsbury with Caleb Williams. I don't know if Chicago's doing that. I don't know. Did that make you want to do anything, Ron Rivera saying that he thinks Washington will take Jaden Daniels second? Like, was that enough to want to make a bet?
Right. I try to think about it. We did this topic earlier and he brought this up that they signed Mariota to be the backup quarterback, and he even referenced this as like a piece of evidence. And this is what we were talking about yesterday. Like, is that enough to go with? Like that just, oh, well, the backup is like similar to the starter that they're going to end up having. And so like, well, Jaden Daniels is the guy you plug in there then if Mariota's the backup and they share some similarities. Here's how I would look at it. Let's say I go bet whatever for if the individual person is a lot of money on Jaden Daniels to be the second overall pick. And then we get to the day of the draft and it's Drake May or it's somebody else. Am I going to look back at that bet and be like, nope, I still love that bet because on March 14th, the former coach of the team came on and said that that's who they were going to pick. I think I would have a lot of regret if that happened. And I think, like, cool, like it could work out and he could be the pick. I think it's too early for things like this to be relevant to me. He's going to have the smartest opinion of almost anybody we're going to have on the show. He was the coach of the team last year, but like we're more than a month away. Like he definitely, I'll speculate. I don't think he knows. I think it's just his best guess. And his best guess is an intelligent guess. It's still just a guess. And Jaden Daniels, by the way, is the favorite to be the second overall pick. So, like, is there really a difference between the market and what he's saying? It sounds like they're saying the same thing, which is that the most likely player by a pretty good amount is Jaden Daniels. For me, not a reason to make a bet.
Has been a minus price to win the award. Obviously, it's his birthday today, 36th birthday. Happy birthday to Steph Curry. He had been the favorite to win clutch player. But over the course of the last couple of weeks, as the Bulls have been trying to like solidify their place in the play-in tournament in the Eastern Conference, DeMar DeRozan has been authoring like these spectacular late game performances. And we talk about this sometimes, Ken, where betting content kind of like makes its way inadvertently into like mainstream media, where I had SportsCenter on this morning while I'm doing like my work and prep for the show, sitting here in my office, and they're talking about how clutch DeMar DeRozan has been and have all these stats about DeMar DeRozan in the final couple minutes of games. And yeah, like he's the favorite in the betting market now to win most clutch player. 46 points last night in the Bulls' upset win over the Pacers in Indiana, has the buzzer beater at the end of regulation on like an insane play to send it to OT, and then scores 9 points in overtime. Ken, I'm guessing that you may have had, I don't know if this is true or not, but I looked at one point this morning and he was like minus 140, and then I looked again like 20 minutes later and he was minus 200. I don't know if you had anything to do with that or anyone you know had anything to do with it, but DeRozan getting bet big time here for clutch player. Yeah. Do you think that's right? It is worth noting Steph Curry's been out for a little bit with that ankle injury. It looks like Steph will be back Saturday night when the Warriors take on LeBron and the LA Lakers.
Which is really fun, by the way, that he will be playing. If he didn't play in that game, like click. It's like the Lakers and LeBron against like a, neutered Warriors team. Like I'm pretty good on that one. I think this market gets more interesting by the day, honestly. There are a few different like angles I can take in terms of explaining this. I think the right way to think about it is it's very likely to be one of these two players. So sometimes we have a two-way market and I'm like, no, like there's a third guy and a fourth guy and a fifth guy. It doesn't look like that's going to happen anymore. For a while, it kind of seemed like anybody could win. This is only the second year of this award's existence. And I think a lot of people, especially even now, are like, and we had Matt Moore on, and he said the same thing. And it's possible this is true. So I don't want to say this isn't true. But I think a lot of people are handicapping this by saying, okay, last year, De'Aaron Fox, who won this award last year, the first year in its existence, De'Aaron Fox led the league in clutch points, which is a sortable stat that you can find at NBA.com. It's very easy to find. And he led the league in that. And Jimmy Butler and DeRozan, in some order, I think DeRozan came in second and Butler came in third, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. They were also in the top three in this stat. I think it was for 1, 2, 3 were these three players. And they came in 1, 2, 3 in the voting. So I think a lot of people are like, well, that's what it is. Like it's you go to the NBA.com, you sort. It has to be that because last year, that's what it was. Except there's a problem with that, which is De'Aaron Fox was the cleanest possible award-winning candidate like you could have. If you had an award called Clutch Player of the Year, it'd be like, well, who would you want to win it? Like ideally, it'd be like a guy who is awesome in the clutch, who leads the league in clutch points, and plays for an awesome team. Like you would want all of those things collectively to be true. And they were. Kings were awesome. He led the league in everything. Easy winner. Not even close. He was like minus 10,000 at this point last year. You could only bet it in one place. And people are like, oh, well, it's Curry again. Be like, yeah, but like, they're like 2 games over. And be like, oh, well, then it's DeRozan. And be like, they're like 1 game under. So there's like a component missing that was present with Fox last year. So I'll just start by saying, I think it will be very interesting if like DeRozan wins, that we can start to be like, oh, team success doesn't matter for an award called Clutch Player of the Year. Be like, oh, you're Clutch Player of the Year? How's your team? Oh, we suck. Oh, well, here's Clutch Player of the Year. You're so clutch that your team's 2 under. Like that's how. So we're headed for that. But I'll be curious when we get to the end of the season. Like, do some voters say, hey, you know, like DeRozan's been awesome. We got all these stats. He's going to lead the league in clutch scoring, I guess, or whatever. And they stink. So I'm going to vote for somebody else because I don't think that's like a really good idea to give them this award when they stink.
I'm almost like I don't even know like what the counter is to, like, or to anything that you said because we just have no information right now on how this is going to go. But it is really interesting.
Yeah, if you had to pick between the two,
guess,
yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I give you an opinion also, which is I do think that obviously Curry's reputation is greater. Like, DeRozan's a really good player, but he's not on Steph Curry's level, which is not an insult.
Curry's an all-time great.
Like DeRozan's clutch performance has kind of come in synchronization with they win all the games that he plays really well in at the end. So it's like, what happens if that doesn't happen?
And you saw it on SportsCenter. Like they did it on SportsCenter. They do Curry on SportsCenter. Right.
Because they won last night. But like, what happens if he doesn't get the opportunity to shoot the buzzer beater? What happens if the Pacers win the game in overtime? So it's not just that he has to play well. It's almost like I feel like Curry can get away with it if the Warriors don't win because people will make excuses for Curry because he's Steph Curry. DeRozan has to win. The Bulls have to win the games for DeRozan to win this award. I don't think the Warriors necessarily have to win the games for Curry to win the award.
We used to play like a game, like Mark Malusis would come on a guest host, and we'd play free roll, and it'd be like, okay, like somebody gives you $100, and you have to bet it on whatever this thing is. What do you bet the $100 on? And the purpose of this is to like get you to make a decision, to get you to think about what you would do. Most improved player, Clutch Player of the Year. I give you $100. What are you betting it on?
I'm probably betting it on, I guess I just take the longest odds and go Steph Curry for clutch player, figuring if the Warriors are going to do some of the things that I kind of hope that they are going to do with him coming back soon, that he's just going to have to drag the rest of this team there where the Bulls are just good as a team in the clutch. And it's also been Kobe White along with DeMar DeRozan. So if you think Kobe White's that good, he has been the secondary option with DeMar DeRozan. So maybe, and also, are people really going to want to give 2 awards to Bulls? I think that's very fascinating in this, considering outside of our betting conversations, the Bulls might be the most irrelevant team in the NBA. So I think there is going to be, look, how much are you looking at an award in a vacuum versus how it fits in the greater context of telling the story of the season?